Good morning, everyone. Coach SheriAnne here in Arizona at Rose Mofford Park, and we have a nice little tractor going by for a second, so it might be a little noisy. But thank you for joining us today, and I'm so excited that you are here. Please put in the comments, even though I won't be able to see them until I'm all done, where you're tuning in from, because I always love to see that, and put in any questions in there, and I'll be happy to answer them once I circle back around and take a look at them. But we're down here at Rose Mofford Park here in Phoenix, right off of 25th Avenue between Dunlap and Peoria. Please come next time we're here, which will be in a month. And it's a beautiful facility. You can see that we have a lot of exercise equipment here that ARP partnered with the city of Phoenix to put in, with a nice cushy floor so you can get in a nice little workout if you want when the weather is nice like it is today. I'm so glad it's overcast. So thank you so much again for joining us today. We are going to be talking about flexibility, mobility, and the importance of it, why you want to maintain it. A lot of that, first and foremost, is so that you can not have an injury or a fall and that prevent you from being able to be mobile. So if we work on mobility and flexibility, it has the chances of us preventing that from happening. It's going to increase your longevity in life. It's going to increase your blood circulation, your mood, all kinds of things. There's so many good things that come from flexibility and stretching, mobility, all of those kind of are worked all in the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a mobility test to start out. And I know some of you hate the word test, but it's a great way to be able to see where you're at with your flexibility. So we're going to kind of come over here. And today I'm so lucky to have two people that are here with me today. We have Tanya and Tommy. So are you guys ready to go through a nice little mobility test? Yes. Okay, awesome. So first things first, I'm going to have you lay down on the ground and I'll move these. You can go head this way, or you can go sideways. This isn't, nothing big going on here. So the things that we want to test when we're doing mobility testing is we're going to be looking at shoulder mobility, because you need to be able to use your arms to put your groceries away, to pick up things, to do things around your house. So shoulder mobility is the very first one we're going to do. So I'm going to have you lay down on your back with your feet flat on the floor, knees bent. Yep, perfect. So what you're going to do here is you're going to put your arms straight above your head, all the way back. Put both arms. Now, do you have to arch your back at all? Do you? No? Tanya, how about you? Okay. So raise your feet up to like a 90-degree bend, and you don't have to arch your back at all to put your arms on the ground. So the beauty of this, you can go and put your feet down, is that if you can't get your arms all the way down, that means you have a lot of shoulder restriction. And so you want to be able to put your arms all the way back over here. A lot of that so that we can put things up and move those shoulders around. So you ladies are doing pretty good in that realm. But I'm going to have you do another one that's a little more challenging. So go ahead and sit up. All right, so what you're going to do is take one arm, put it straight up above you, and you're going to bend it back. Okay, like you're going to do a tricep stretch. Take the other arm, and you're going to do this. And you're going to see how close you can get those fingertips. I'm already getting warm. So how close are we? Oh, you are within 2 inches. Tanya, you are almost within 2 inches. So you ladies actually have really good shoulder mobility. So you both had your right arm up, so I'm going to have you put your left arm up. Down, and then reach. So isn't it interesting that you have less mobility in your right shoulder, right? How about for you? Let me see.
Yes.
Is it, do you feel you have more restriction in your right?
Yes.
Yes. Are you right-handed? Yes. Right-handed. So we use it more. So it tends to have it gets a little bit tighter. So we're going to be doing some exercises to loosen those shoulders up. But that is a difficult stretch to do. It is one, most people end up like this, like they can't get their arms back where they can meet their hands. I can't meet my hands. When I was a little kid, I used to be able to meet my hands. All right, so go ahead and come to your feet. And what we're going to do, and I love that you ladies are going to be able to get an up and down, up and down. All right, so first things first, we're going to be doing shoulder circles like this. You can just alternate your arms. If you want to do them at the same time, you can, but you feel a little weird. So I like to alternate them. And then we're going to go the other way. So what this is doing is it's really opening up the shoulder. Okay. So this is just, and the importance of, well, actually, let me circle back around. Let me tell you first, before you start, you guys can stop so you don't feel like you're swimming in the air. So you do want to warm up a little bit before you just jump right into doing any kind of stretches. And this is a great way to warm up. And I like to like kind of mess with myself and play with my brain and go in opposite directions. But this is a nice way to warm those shoulders up before we start stretching. And each exercise we do will warm the joint up a little bit before we just jump into stretching. You never really want to stretch a cold muscle. So what you want to do is bring this arm right straight across and just grab it. And you're going to be pulling that arm across to really get some shoulder stretch in here. You feel it in there? So hold it there. So when you're doing your stretches, what I'd like for you to do is to hold them for 10 to 30 seconds. Don't ever bounce. Just do a nice stretch, just enough to have it feel, I don't even want to say uncomfortable, but where you just feel a nice pull in the muscle. All right, so now we're going to go and switch the other side and do the other one. And if you have a lot of flexibility and you're able to pull your arm all the way across, sometimes what you can do is resist against it, and it'll help stretch it even more. It kind of opens up. So what you can do now is you're going to put your hands, palms together right in front of you. Perfect. Reach out forward and just keep going all the way up. Can you feel that in your shoulders? Yes. This really gets the shoulders nice and warm and on the back side. So now you're going to switch around. You can clasp your hands however you'd like this way. And you're just going to pull your shoulders back and down. And this will help stretch right here across the front. Your shoulders feel a little more looser? Do you want to see if your right shoulder has better ability to get there? Yeah? I can now touch. Just from that little bit of a stretching and warm up, I can now touch. Yeah, see? Isn't that great? Okay. So the next area that we like to test is the thoracic area, the upper back. So upper back down into your lower back. So what I'd like for you to do is you're going to, I want to see how I want you to go ahead and go down to your knees. And if it's uncomfortable for you to sit on your knees, because you just say, oh, my knees. So if you don't want to sit on your knees, go ahead and have a seat on the bench. This will be a great, you sure? Because you can do it sitting on a chair, a bench, or on the ground. So what I want you to do here is cross your hands under your shoulders, and all you're going to do is keep your hips forward. And the reason we sit on our knees is so that we can keep our hips forward. And what I want you to do is twist and see how far you can twist to the right. We're going to go to the right first. And if you can go at least 45 degrees, which this would be straight, 45 is about right here, and 90 is all the way this way. So if you can get to at least 45, that is really good. If you can't get to 45, then we might have, some thoracic tightness in our back. Okay, so let's go the other direction. Do you feel like you have equal flexibility? Yes? No? Do you feel like one side's tighter than the other? What do you think?
Mine's about the same this morning.
How about for you, Tanya? Right goes further? Okay. All right, so now we're going to come forward. And it's totally normal if you have one side that's tighter than the other, because we are not symmetrical on both sides. How we use our muscles is not the same. So it's very normal to have one side tighter than the other. All right, so this right here is, I call this cat-cow. So your hands are going to be stacked right below your shoulders. Knees are right below your hips. And so just imagine what a cat does when it stretches. It arches its back, pull up as high as you can, Now you're going to do, I don't know why they call it a cow, but they call it a cow. So now we're going to do the other way, and we're going to kind of sink our bellies down as far as we can and see how good of an arch we get. Oh, ladies, you actually have really good flexion and extension in your backs. So this is a good test. This is also the other test to see flexion and extension. And then we tested rotation. So these are the two tests to do for mobility in your upper back. Okay, so now we're going to do some stretches for our back. So go ahead and hop on your back, lay on your back. Head this way. Yep. Now, ladies, have you done a figure 4 stretch? Okay, have you done a figure 4? So you're going to put this ankle on this knee. Yep, figure 4. Like, we call it figure 4 because it kind of looks like a 4. So what you're going to do is then you're going to bring this knee up, bring your left knee up to your chest. And if you want to grab your thigh, you can grab your thigh to help pull it in. And this is going to be a really great stretch for your lower back. Do you feel it in your lower back? And also in your piriformis right here? Yep. How's that feel, Tanya? Okay, so go ahead and switch and pull up. This really helps with the lower back. Also hits that piriformis, which I really like. That piriformis is the outside of the hip, which, believe it or not, everything is connected. So even though we're stretching this helps your lower back because it's all connected to your lower back. All right, so go ahead and let your feet down. You can rest for a second, and take some things off your knees since you. So the next stretch that I like is called the windshield wiper. So you're going to bring your knees up to a 90-degree bend, and we'll both go the same direction. So I'll have you both drop your knees to the left, trying to keep your shoulders on the ground. If you'd like, put your arms out to the side and see how far you can get. Yep, keeping your back on the ground and dropping your knees to the side. And can you feel that in your back? Right in the middle, like the thoracic down into the lower back. Wonderful. All right, let's go to the other way. This is a great stretch to help with your rotation. How's that feel, ladies? Awesome. And if you feel like this is too easy for you, what you can do the next phase is to straighten your legs, and it really creates a bigger lever so you can get a bigger stretch. And when we're doing this stretch, what I really like you to try to do is make sure you keep your shoulders on the ground and not let your whole torso rotate, because otherwise you're not focusing on your rotation. All right, so let's hop up back on our knees and let's check that rotation. Let's see how far, because both of you said one side was tighter than the other. So which was it? Was it the right was tighter? Left was tighter for both of you? All right. It's because you're right-handed, you're right dominant. So everything's kind of opposite. So go ahead and cross your hands like this. We're going to rotate. Do you feel like you can go farther? Let's go the other way. You feel like you can go farther, Tanya? Awesome. Yay. Okay, so the next area that we like to do a mobility test on is your hips. Hips are so very, very critical because tight hips can lead to a lot of injuries, a lot of falls. And if you have a fall as an elderly person, you can also have a lot of issues with just your whole longevity and your health. So for hips, what we'd like to do is it's a really interesting test. So I'll have you use your hands at first. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a 90-degree bend and a 90-degree bend. Okay. And I'll let you use your hands at first. So this is called the 90-90 test because you have 90-90. So what you're going to do is you're going to rotate because this is for hip rotation. So you're going to come up and heels stay on the ground and then you're going to rotate. So you can have your hands on the ground to give you stability, but ultimately I'd like for you to be able to do this. Nice. Wonderful, ladies. And what this is doing is it's showing that your hips can open up and you have the ability to have some flexibility in that hip for side lateral movement and whatnot. Very impressed. How'd that feel? All right. You guys didn't even have to put your hands down. I was super impressed. Did you have to put your hands down, Tanya? Awesome. The camera, like, definitely is like, hey. All right. So some great hip stretches. So since we're down on the ground, what we're going to do is I would like for you to put one foot out in front of you. Our legs are at a 90-degree bend again. And what I want you to do is put that front foot out just a little farther because it's easier to move than the back one because all your weight's on your knee. So what I want you to do is to lean as far forward into this front leg as you can. And what you're going to do is you're going to be feeling it. Here, I'm going to switch my legs just so the camera can see. So what we're doing here is we're really opening up this hip flexor because these hip flexors tend to get tight because we sit a lot. We sit a lot. So when we sit, our legs are at a 90-degree bend and this hip flexor gets really, really tight. So lean into that to really stretch that hip flexor as much as you can. Once again, 20 to 30 seconds. Don't ever bounce. Don't bounce in a stretch. All right, we're going to come back. You guys can switch. Make sure you do the other side so we're balanced. There you go. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so we're gonna go back to lay on our backs really quick. And I'm gonna show that you can do this also in a chair if you don't wanna be on the ground. So go ahead and lay down. You're gonna pull your knee to your chest. Yep, just one. And straighten the other leg out, straight. Perfect. Grab this knee and pull it in. And do you feel this in the back of your hip? Yep. So this is gonna be stretching the back of your hip. Wonderful, wonderful. And go ahead and switch. It's that back of the hip. And then also here, you can also do your figure 4 stretch again, which we did. That is an amazing stretch to help with the hips as well as lower back. We did it earlier for the back, but you felt it in your hips when you did it. Yep. Let's go ahead and do that one again really quick. Figure 4. Yep. And you can pull your leg up if you want. Nice job. Go ahead and switch your legs. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and make our legs flat on the ground. Okay, so now bring your right leg straight up to a 90 degrees. Wonderful. So now if you're at home and you're having a hard time, we have some superstar ladies here. So if you're at home and you're having a hard time getting your right leg up to the sky, sometimes what I like to do, I'm going to use you as a guinea pig, Tommy. You can use these bands or you can use a towel and you can help. So let's pretend you don't have the hamstring flexibility that you do have, and you're like somebody at home that doesn't have hamstring flexibility. For all that you are watching, this is actually my mom, and she works out. So she has flexibility. So, because she doesn't have a choice, because she's my mom. So let it come down a little farther. So what you can do is you can use a band or a towel to help facilitate getting your leg up to a 90 degree, because you really do want the ability to lift your leg up. If you're not able to lift your leg on your own and you're only able to get it just barely, like let's go ahead and say you don't have flexibility and you can only lift it to here because your hamstring is so very, very tight. The problem with that is that if you are out and about and just going to the store and something startles you and you stumble, like your hamstring is so tight that it's not going to be able to move appropriately to help you from falling. So if you can't get your foot to at least here where it's in alignment with your knee, then you are really needing to focus on hamstring flexibility. And we're going to be doing a stretch later on also with hamstrings. Hamstrings tend to be very tight on a lot of people because it's a muscle that we just ignore. We tend to ignore what we call our posterior chain, which is the whole muscle chain on our backside, because we focus on everything in front of us. That's what we see in the mirror. That's what we do. Everything we do is forward. So really make sure that you're focusing on those hamstrings so that you don't have an injury. So those are hips. The last area you ladies can pop up. The last area that we like to test is your ankle flexibility. And the reason for that is because what is the first thing that's on the ground? Your foot, right? And right above that, that joint is the ankle joint. And if it doesn't have flexibility in it, then you have the chances of falling even more. And we just really want to prevent falling as much as possible. So what we're going to do is you ladies can stay right here. I'm just going to move over here. So what you want to do is if you're at home and you have a wall, the best thing to do is put your foot away from the wall about the width of your hand. Okay, this is a little farther actually. So we're going to go here, but I have a lot of flexibility. So I'm actually going to pull it back. So what you want to do is the wall's here and you're going to bend into the wall. So if your foot's the width of your hand away and you're like this and you can't touch the wall with your knee, that means your ankle mobility, your ankle flexibility, your ability to dorsiflex that foot all the way up, your Achilles, your soleus, your calf muscle is way too tight. If this is all too tight and you don't have the ability to come forward, it's really impacting your ability to walk, which then can impact your ability to save yourself from a fall. So ankle flexibility is actually very, very important because that's the first thing that's on the ground is your foot. So what we'll do is, one thing I'd like to have people do is just do some ankle circles. So we're just going to kind of warm up the ankle. You can do the alphabet with your toes, so you can draw the alphabet so that you can really work that ankle, because our ankle is a really complex joint. So we're going to get those ankles kind of warm. And then I'll show you how to do a soleus stretch, which is a calf stretch. So ladies, come on and pop up to your feet. Up, down, up, down, up, down. It's one of the best things about life, right? Is knowing that you can get up and down. So all you're going to do is you're going to put one foot in front of the other, okay? And you're going to keep them both flat on the ground, and you're going to come forward as far as you can, and make sure your toes are facing forward. Tying it. Yep, there we go. So here, spread your feet apart just a little bit. There you go. Like what I say is keep them in railroad tracks. When people have a tendency to go in front, they go right in front, and then you're all over the place. Keep your feet in railroad tracks, because we walk like this. We don't walk like this. So do you feel that in your back, in the back foot? And sometimes if you need to, you can push up against a wall to really help get that back. So we're focusing on the back one and pushing that heel down into the ground. Go ahead and switch. Yep. Pushing that back heel down into the ground to really stretch that. Plus, when you're doing that also, the angle of your leg to your foot is really focusing on dorsiflexing that foot and really focusing on getting that calf as far forward. And if you need to, if you ever need to go up to against a wall, you can put your toe up on the wall and really lean into it, and that's going to help get a really good calf stretch as well. So your calf muscles are your stabilizer muscles for the lower part of your body. So they're a very important muscle. So to get a good stretch, but also doing a good stretch, well, it's best to do this with a wall so that you have something to hold on to. But if you have stairs in your house, lower yourself all the way down. I'll go sideways here. See if I can do this without falling. Going all the way down and coming all the way up. That gets a good stretch and a good exercise on those calf muscles. So that's the mobility test. It's just 4 areas. We're just focusing on your shoulders, your back, your hips, and your ankles. So do a mobility test, kind of run through those, do the stretches that I showed you to help work those out if you have any tightness in those areas, because that will really help you with some longevity and preventing injuries. But before we go, we're going to do what they call the world's greatest stretch. And it's just a one move wonder, but it's so fun. And I don't know why it's called the world's greatest stretch, but so all you're going to do is you're going to lunge out in front. So you can, I'll just go and move this out of the way for you, Tanya. You come over here. So you're going to lunge out in front. Okay. We're going to put our hands down on the ground right in front of that foot and go to where you're comfortable. That back heel can come up. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your right hand, because we have our right foot in front. Okay. And we're going to reach up to the sky. And if you're uncomfortable doing this, you can put your back knee down. Okay, if you get dizzy or if you're having a hard time with flexibility, it's totally fine to put that back knee down, because what we're doing here is we're really working on the shoulder mobility. So go ahead and put your arm up. Wonderful. So we have thoracic, we're doing shoulder, we have our hips are open because we have our hip flexor lunge. This is all getting stretched. Where do you ladies feel it? Everywhere. So go ahead and put your right hand down and put our left hand up. Once again, we're getting some nice shoulder mobility, some thoracic mobility, a good stretch in the legs. Okay, both hands down. All you're gonna do is raise your hips, leave your feet split apart. So you're gonna come up, so you're like this, you're gonna come up like this. Go ahead and put hands on either side, so you feel a little more stable. And where are you feeling it now? Your hamstring, that beautiful hamstring that was so tight earlier, right? And this back calf is getting it. It's getting a good stretch. This is why this is the world's greatest stretch. So then you can move your right foot back if you'd like, or you can bring however you feel comfortable getting out of it, or bring your left foot forward. You got it. Awesome. Okay. What do we have to do to balance? We got to do the other side. All right. So left foot forward. Once again, if you're uncomfortable, put that right knee down in the back, but you're going to put both hands in front. We're going to completely rotate open. We got that shoulder, our upper back, this left leg that's forward, the right calf that's back. All right, left hand down. Now we're going to go right hand up. We're opening up. Sometimes this feels a little harder, this side. We're holding it, coming back down. Okay, put your hands on either side of your feet. Kind of straighten your leg up. Get that good hamstring stretch. Hamstring and back calf. So straighten that front leg out, Tanya, and let's get that hamstring. There you go. Yep. Awesome. All right, go ahead and stand up. How'd the world's greatest stretch feel?
I've been stressed.
That was a good one because, like I said, it hits everything that you need it to hit. So, ladies, where do you usually have stiffness? What time of the day do you normally feel stiff?
Getting out of bed.
First thing in the morning? How about for you, Tanya? Yep. So what's really wonderful about that is you just get up, kind of move your body around. You're walking to your bathroom. You got to brush your teeth, go to the bathroom, do whatever. So you kind of wake the muscles up. And then slowly just start doing little things just to kind of help loosen those joints. And like I said earlier in the show, we don't ever want to stretch cold muscles. So just move them around. Like the exercises that I showed you will help kind of lubricate them, so to speak, before you just go and stretch them. It used to be stretch before you work out. Not anymore. It's do a nice little warm up, do your workout, and then save your stretches for at the end of your workout, or just as during the day, but do a little warm up before you just go stretching them. But doing those shoulder ones are really great because we have a tendency to be so forward in everything that we do. So keeping those shoulders open. The thing about being mobile and flexible is that your posture is so much better. It really, I mean, you both are like standing like super happier, feeling wonderful. So I'm so glad. Thank you so much for coming out today to join us. And in 2 weeks, March 7th, I'm super excited to share that I will be doing Back to Basics from Costa Rica. My mom and I are traveling there for just a mom-daughter trip. So because Nicoya, Costa Rica is a blue zones, we're going to be talking about blue zones, what they're about, our experience in visiting a blue zone, and because blue zones are concentrated places around the world where there are centenarians. And so who doesn't want to live to be 100, especially if you can do it vivaciously? And so we will be sharing what they're doing down there firsthand. So I'm excited to see you all March 7th at 10 a.m. here on the AARP Arizona Facebook page, and I'll see you then.